You're listening to the No Limits Radio Show on the Vets on Media Network.
Good morning. Welcome to the show. I'm Christina.
And I'm Michelle.
And over there running the board, we've got Sam.
Morning, ladies.
Good
Feels
morning.
like a Monday on a Saturday right now. This is not my morning.
You poor thing.
But you're here. You're
I
here
am.
safe and sound.
And we're broadcasting. I didn't think we were broadcasting about 5 minutes ago.
Hey, with the Costco card, you can do anything.
It is. It's magic. It's
Michelle-
like American Express, but not.
Michelle, you continue to amaze me. I have never seen someone actually, like I've heard that you can open a door with a credit card, but I've never actually seen that happen in real life.
Yeah.
It happens every day.
I have lots of little secret trades that people don't know about. I don't think it would work for like a main door outside a house, but inside doors, you never done it like your kids lock the door or something in their bedroom or the bathroom and the door gets locked and
Well, some doors you can like stick a bobby pin, like inside doors they have that
Yeah.
little round. I've done that.
you could probably take a card and do the same thing.
I'm gonna have to try it.
She's going to be home just going into lock. How about this one?
Yeah, well when I get the
Really
call at
scraping
7,
it.
yeah, I'll get a call at 7 o'clock tonight.
Locked
Michelle,
out of
it's
my
not
house.
working.
I'm locked out of my house. What do I do?
I'm stuck in the bathroom. Just unlock it, Christina.
Well, we have a really great show for everyone today. We actually have a studio guest audience right now.
Hooray.
Nobody on the video can see you all, but you can wave anyway.
Sometimes that's a good thing for some of us. Oh, there's
Sky.
There's Sky.
I have to say, being involved in a pageant, I think, has really helped to bring Sky out of her shell. The shyness veil is definitely lifting away.
Of course, that
Rob,
comes with seniors and all that from high school or for high school.
oh, don't get me started on the fact that she's a senior. I just about cried. Actually, I did cry during registration. I was like, I can't believe, because it seems like just
Man,
yesterday she was
Graduation's
in.
going to be rough for you, isn't it?
Are you kidding me? I'm going to be a
wreck.
basket case. Well, we've got some very special guests that are going to be here talking with us. We've got Mrs. Arizona United States, and we're going to learn more about some of the things that she's passionate about, the journey to the crown. We also will have Vernon Parker, who was running for the U.S. House of Representatives. He has switched his campaign to the Corporation Commission, and after seeing an article in the Arizona Republic that, in my opinion, I felt was a little biased, I wanted to give him an opportunity to come in and share his side of things. So we're going to get to that a little bit later. But first up, we have the wild, the wonderful, the weird stories that Michelle has found. She's gone out. She's done the homework. She's done all your work for you guys. She's found the stories.
Well, unless you're looking for like real like important news, you're not going to find it here. So if you want to hear about, Obama's possible impeachment or what's the big disease coming over, the Ebola, if you want to hear about that, you probably aren't going to hear it. But if you want to hear about a grandma that's going to spend 6 months in jail, I can tell you all about it.
Well, if you do want to talk about any of those breaking stories, connect with me on my Facebook page, because I love talking about those things. I love that stuff. But most of the talking radio heads have done that Monday through Friday. So it's the weekend. Let's have some fun. Let's talk about some of the WWW.
Let's talk about some weird stuff first. Okay, so
These are always
I
scary.
think this one's pretty funny. This is actually from the Huffington Post. A 68-year-old grandma, Peggy Clem, is facing 6 months behind bars after she had public sex with a man who was not her husband in a pavilion in Florida. This is in Florida.
And how many?
I say good for her. She's 68. She's having fun. Okay, she was married, so maybe that
go
isn't
have
the
fun
best thing in the
somewhere
world.
else. I don't want to see that.
Maybe it was 2 o'clock in the morning and no one was out there. It doesn't say.
Well, young kids are out at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Well, so's Grandma.
Apparently.
Yeah.
I would just die. I mean, if that was, okay, you're saying good for her, but if that was your grandma, how would you feel about that?
Oh, honey, my grandma was like 380 pounds. I think she probably quit having sex after her 8 kids. I'm pretty sure of it.
Let's say it's your mom.
Oh, my mom and dad still have sex. I'm sure of it. If it was up to my dad, I'm sure, yes. My mom, on the other hand, no. She would not. I don't even know if she gets all undressed when they're having sex in their bedroom. I mean, I have no idea. But anyway, her husband is standing by her and says she is a superwoman as far as I'm concerned, and she deserves a second chance. That's all I have to say.
Well, I think everyone makes mistakes, but having sex in public, I don't know that that's really a mistake. That's just weird.
Well, we know you would never do that. Of course, we know. If anyone who listens to the show on a regular basis, Christina would never do that because she'd have to like sanitize the bench or the wherever she is, the playground little twirly thing before she even thought of getting.
Wait, so they did it.
Hold on a second. Michelle?
What?
It's not just for that reason, okay?
Oh, but that would be your reason.
There's a whole list of reasons that I would not have sex in public.
I think you should put it on your bucket list and try it at least once. You might like it. Like, you don't know until you try it.
She's worried about her daughter, Michelle.
Okay, how often do you tell your kids, you don't know unless you try it? So you know what? I know you've said it before, at least like 20 times to each kid.
That doesn't mean try things that could get you arrested.
Well,
I mean, because clearly you could get arrested.
but she's not really doing anything wrong. I mean, besides the fact that she's having, it's not like she's, stealing things or she's, it's not like she's doing anything really wrong. She's having sex. Everybody has sex. Who cares?
When somebody does drugs, they're not really doing anything wrong.
Well, no, it's illegal. Sex is not illegal. Doing drugs is illegal.
But sex in public. But sex in public is illegal.
Yeah, but well, whatever. That's
And,
like a little thing.
like
There's
indecent exposure.
Yeah.
Given that up until the weekend that we were at the Princess Resort, I had never been in public wearing a bathing suit. Just not because of like indecent exposure, just because of I don't want to be in public wearing a bathing suit. I doubt very highly that I would be having sex in public.
No.
So
I doubt it very highly too. But hey, who knows? You did go to the princess in a bikini, so who knows? Next week we might hear about some indecent exposure.
So
She does get wild.
I'm looking at that article that you have there, and they were caught in a retirement community. That's even.
Oh yeah.
That's gross.
Yeah, but the retirement community is like known for wild parties.
That must be the craziest retirement home.
That's where I'm going.
Sun City's got nothing on these guys.
That's
apparently.
all right, what else do you have for us, Michelle?
I'm calling this wonderful. There's quite the debate on it. However, I think it's great. This actually happened in, I think it was an Australian flight. Yeah. A flight attendant warns travelers to flush their drugs before landing. So the airline is apologizing on Wednesday for a warning a flight attendant gave passengers who might be flying high, that word there,
That's awesome.
that there were going to be drug-sniffing dogs awaiting them at the Sydney airport. So what he said was, if you need to dispose of anything that you shouldn't have, we suggest you flush it now. So there's kind of mixed feelings of whether this was a good thing or a bad thing.
I think it's fine. I don't see anything. Well, she's so crazy. It's a good joke, right? Too. I see that as like if you got anything illegal, get rid of it now. Just so you know.
I feel like he was saying it as a joke, but I think he really wasn't. Like, I think he was being dead serious because most of these people were coming from some gathering that was going on that was kind of known to have a lot of, like a Dead concert. It wasn't a Dead concert, but something in Australia similar to that.
See, I don't
know. I see that as a good sense of humor.
I see it as almost borderline obstruction of justice.
Oh, no. I don't think it's that crazy.
He didn't know for a fact that anyone had it.
So when I'm driving down the highway and I know that there's when you're driving on a 2-lane highway and you know that there's a police officer, I don't know if somebody else is speeding, but if I were to flash my lights to indicate to them that there's a police officer, there's a possible, radar stop. If I do that, I can get in trouble because that's obstruction of justice.
But I also see that as a good favor too, because I thank the guy who flashes his lights and go, thank you for letting me know that there's a cop down the road. Not that I'm speeding, but it's nice to know. It might be illegal, like having sex in public, but it's not all bad.
See, I think that somebody getting caught with drugs is not a bad thing, because the sooner that they get caught, the sooner that they can have that intervention, and the sooner that they can realize that they're, the sooner that they can hit rock bottom, the sooner that they're going to turn their life around. So I think that the flight attendant actually did them a disservice, but that's just my opinion.
Well, I think it was fun, and if I would have had stuff, I'd have flushed it immediately.
What if there was a murderer on the plane?
And there's a murderer on the plane.
And what if the murderer had like a weapon and then they went and flushed it down the toilet.
Well, the only way he would flush it down an airplane toilet would be if it was an icicle.
Yeah.
It could happen because nothing fits down an airplane toilet, which is why I don't use them.
If he's doing a murder on a plane, I think somebody would notice.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, laws are laws.
Speaking of which, have you guys ever seen a show called Come Fly With Me?
I have not.
It's a British show. It only had about 6 episodes, but it's got the guys from another show they made called Little Britain. And they basically, these 2 guys play like 6 or 7 different characters in the show. And they're very much like a Who's On Is It Anyways type guys. And you guys should definitely take a look at it. It's really funny. It's pretty darn racist. Like, Americans could never get away with British humor because British humor is amazing. But it's definitely a show to come look at.
So Sam's pretty much just saying that it's okay to be a racist.
Yes, it is.
That's why she would love it.
No, it's okay to be racist on a show and not have to worry about like the back, like the
backlash.
Yeah, there you go. That's it.
And I guess in Britain you can do that.
What? It's a joke. It's not real. It's not like we're really racist. It's a joke.
See, you learn something new every day. Like, I didn't know that, she has, like...
You guys always twist my words. Always twist them.
No, Sam, you said it's okay to be a racist.
In a joke? Yes. Of course it is. Oh, come on. This is why Americans have an issue.
Lots of comedians base their skits on racist...
Kevin Hart? Come on.
Yeah.
It's all black jokes. Same thing.
Lots of comedians do it.
I just don't even know right now. Like, I look to Sam. For those of you, I mean, you can't see Sam, and if you don't know what the age demographic that Sam is in, I look to Sam as she's the voice of the future. And what I'm hearing kind of disturbs me.
Oh, come on. People are doing this all the time. Let's be real.
Oy vey. Please
She'll be
take us somewhere else, Michelle.
Where do you want to go?
Anywhere.
Okay, this one's kind of wacky. I think it's kind of funny at the same time. So this happened in Oklahoma. The woman calls cops to complain about the purity of her meth. So Lynette Ray Sampson invited the officer over, showed him the goods, and got arrested despite her uncommon hospitality. She opened the door and said, "I'm glad you came." So
she's
she was
so
a little,
nice.
I know.
She was inviting.
Yeah, she's like 54.
Wow.
Yeah, this wasn't like a young kid. I mean, this was almost as bad as grandma having sex in the park. But yeah, she's 54, meth addict, and she was upset that her meth wasn't pure.
So the question is how did they respond?
They arrested her.
Yeah, they arrested her.
Well, yeah, but how do you what's the next words that come out of your mouth? I'm glad you came. Ma'am, I'd like you to turn around, please.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's about how it went.
I don't know, but I feel like you could have a great...
I'm glad you came.
Yeah.
Here's my drugs. There's something wrong with them.
Would you like some dinner?
Yeah, how about some lemonade?
Yeah.
So now she's arrested. Hopefully she'll figure out what... You know what's interesting, though, is I'm wondering if she thought, well, all of the illegal immigrants were protesting outside of the White House, and they didn't get arrested.
Very true.
So I should be able to invite...
Really? That was
police.
a thing? When was this?
That was a thing. That was on Monday of last week.
That's pretty screwed up.
Isn't that interesting?
Well, because the police in Washington, D.C. are more worried about what our president's doing and not the illegal immigrants.
Apparently.
That's all I know. So this is actually the next little segment comes from Huffington Post. When I was out there searching today, they have this great page. I think we all can learn from these things, which is why I'm sharing it. However, they have a teen page. So it's really kind of neat. It's all these different stories that are, that involve teens and essentials that freshmen need when they go back to school and quotes from teens and teen tweets and all this other stuff. However, they had 11 ways to lose your friends on social media.
Uh-oh. Have any of us done them?
And this is for
Oh,
teens?
you for sure. I'm just kidding.
Is this for teens now?
Well, this segment of the Huffington Post is their teen section.
Okay.
However, when you read these, if you are on social media, they're very true. Yeah,
okay.
they would hold true to anyone.
All right. So we've got 11 things that are causing you to lose your friends on social media.
So when you're on Facebook, writing on your best friend's wall too often. Everybody knows you're texting them and calling them. Why do you need to post everything on their wall?
Yeah, that's very true. That's annoying.
Do I do that too often?
No.
Okay.
She's worried now.
Changing your profile picture every day. We understand that you have a daily profile picture remorse and feel the need to switch it back and forth to your 4 most recent defaults, but don't punish the rest of us for your addiction.
See, now I actually think that... What? Don't laugh, Rob. I actually think that it's smart to change your Facebook picture on a regular basis, because when you do
When you
that...
say regular basis, how much we're talking here? 3 times a week?
Well, I
Once
wouldn't
a
say
week?
I wouldn't say every day, but
Every other.
Yeah, that's what Rob...
every other. But when you do that, you show up in the news feed.
But don't you show up in the newsfeed anyways if you're posting?
Yeah.
But pictures, there's an algorithm behind that of hierarchy of what shows up.
Well, then why don't you just post pictures of your day then? Like, here's me with a nice sunset, or this, and that. And shouldn't that be enough?
Nope, it's not enough.
Okay, well, anyway, Christina's not changing that. She is going to continue to change her profile picture every other day. So on Instagram, Instagramming every meal you eat. We
hate
don't care.
That.
See, I don't get this. Why do people take pictures of their food and then post it?
I don't either.
I find that with kids my age, because they're all, moving out of the house, making their own dinners, they post those because they're so proud that they've made the dinner.
Okay.
So that is part of it, I think, that they're like, oh, look, I made my first, chicken all by myself, and blah, 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 blah. It's like, and that's great. That's fine a couple times. Or, you do that New Year's Eve, roast, and it's just amazing. But if I have to sit down at dinner and wait for you to take a picture of our meals, you got another thing coming.
Right.
I'm like, move out of the way. I'm going to stuff in my face.
See, I'm happy when they post it, especially since we're doing the Chicks Making Bacon show.
Yeah.
I like seeing, I'm doing a lot of research on Pinterest and finding what looks good. Not that what we make is, or not that my recipe for Sunday is going to look like that, but I think Pinterest is a good place to post those pictures of recipe items. Not just, hey, I'm out at a restaurant, I ordered this food, here's my picture.
I mean, we did it a little bit in San Diego, but it was because some of the things that we ordered were this humongous. Yeah, exactly. But I did have a friend once post on Facebook, and I thought it was absolutely hilarious. She was like, do you remember when we were younger and you would eat dinner, but before you ate the dinner, you would take a picture with your camera, and then you would run and go get the film developed and then take it over to your neighbor's house to show everybody what you ate? Yeah, I don't either, so stop. And I was like, oh my God, that's so true.
I was going to say, you did that?
No, that's what she was saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2 in a day. Now, I didn't know this, but apparently on Instagramming, 2 pictures in one day is wrong. You are only supposed to do 1 a day.
I just feel like that's just, again, overposting, depending on who you are, right?
I'm new to Instagram, so
I'm usually only on once.
I've been breaking a rule.
Yeah, I know. So they say 1 a day.
Okay.
Inside joke captions. Don't put an inside joke on a comment of a picture or something, because then everybody else feels like they're out of the loop. Okay. So don't do that.
I can kind of get that, but I don't think it's that bad necessarily. But
there's no point to it, because if you post so this is on Instagram still?
This is on either Instagram.
Anywhere?
This is Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah. So when you post a picture in a public place for everybody to see, and then you put an inside joke,
sometimes though that's people enticing others to ask, right?
Right.
Oh, that was so much fun.
That's another no though.
Yep.
Yeah, it is. It says, let me go down. It's a little bit down a little bit further
for you.
Yeah, it's okay. This is actually saying something. It's on Twitter, that you shouldn't do this on Twitter, but I think it's true on Facebook too. Extremely vague tweets, like don't say it's the worst thing when this happens, or oh my God, so excited, because you're frustrating all your followers because no one knows what you're talking about.
Sky is shaking her head in agreement.
Yeah. Snapchat. Do any of you Snapchat?
Nope.
Snapchat. 10 in a row with 0 responses. Quit sending them. They do not want to talk to you.
Yep.
And
apparently that's a thing.
Yeah. And 400-second Snapchat stories.
I don't know what this is.
Okay, so a story is like you take so many pictures with.
Wait, stop. She doesn't know what Snapchat is.
No, I know what Snapchat is.
Oh, you do?
I see my children on it all the time.
Oh. Okay, so
it's
400.
A picture that you send.
Basically, it's a group of pictures you can put together. Where you know how Snapchat, when you send a picture, it lasts for 5-10 seconds, whatever.
Right.
But the story, you can go back and go through them constantly, but it's usually a group, like a folder of pictures, if you will.
Okay.
So it just depends. Sometimes it could be 20 pictures, you got 5 pictures of maybe like your birthday day, so people can see a bunch of those. But people abuse all these a lot.
Okay.
So they're saying a 400-second Snapchat is way too long. No, you are not that interesting. That's what it says. No one is that interesting. And do not try to have a conversation on Snapchat.
People do that all the time.
Yeah, don't like tag them there. You want to hang out tonight or something like that. Just text them. It makes more sense.
Who are these rule makers?
I don't know.
People who get annoyed with other people.
And lastly, on Twitter, don't change your name so many times on Twitter because it takes us over 30 seconds to figure out who you are every time that you've gone too far.
Same
Stick
thing
with your
goes
real
for
name.
Facebook. It drives me crazy. I have a few friends that do this, and if you're going to change the name of your page, let people know beforehand. If you're going to change your profile name, let people know beforehand.
I have a hard time when people change their last names when they get married. They're trying to change their whole name. I'm like, who am I dealing with right now?
Right.
Oh, I changed my name. But I don't change it like back and forth.
But yeah, no. If you change it once or twice, whatever.
Yeah. So I changed it back. So, and lastly, that's all on our little 11 things. But I think the Huffington Post doing a teen page is brilliant. I think that's wonderful. And I didn't know they had it until today. So kudos to you, Huffington Post, because I think that's awesome.
I agree. What else do you have for us,
Lastly, we have 9 lies, and I'm not going to go over all of them, but a couple of them are pretty funny, that you learned in kindergarten and you still probably believe.
Okay.
Okay.
Cavemen lived in caves. There's absolutely no proof that they really lived in caves. Chances are they probably lived out in the elements. Watching television close to a screen and reading in dim lights will damage your eyes.
Well, reading in dim lights will damage your eyes.
No. Reading print in dim light is not a threat to your eye health. But if you believe this and your eyesight does get worse, carrots aren't going to improve your eyesight significantly any more than healthy other foods. So no, watching TV too close was actually an advertisement thing that General Electric used.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's kind of cruel, too, making up these lies like that.
Yeah. And the lie about carrots, I didn't have time to research into this, but I want to at some point, and I'll let you guys know. But apparently the carrots improving your eyesight was a lie created by the British government during World War II to trick the Nazis.
Well, we know the British are all racist, so
so what the hell?
Everybody's a little bit racist. What's that from? Hey. No, nothing. Avenue Q. It's a play. Never mind.
Derp? What?
Avenue Q. Have you never heard of this? The
No.
puppets. Oh dear.
No.
Okay.
Avenue Q?
Is this another British thing?
No, it's a theater production that they do with big puppets, and it's very funny, and it's an adult show called Avenue Q.
Oh, it's like the puppets had sex and stuff?
No, it's like.
Well, she said it's an adult puppet show, so what do you mean it's an adult puppet show?
Because
I know, like maybe the puppets got down and dirty or something.
Because it's not for kids, basically, right? So if it was a kids' ones, it'd be like Sesame Street.
Well, I don't know. I see some pretty risque stuff on Sesame Street. Big Bird, I'll tell you what. Anyway, speaking of birds, birds and bees are examples of sexual intercourse. So we've all heard, let's learn about the birds and the bees. The reality is that 97% of all birds have no penises. Unfortunately for the poor male birds, through the evolutional process, it has led to many birds' penises to shrink away before they develop. And honeybees, speaking of bees, they commit something called sexual suicide. Male drones live their whole life to impregnate the queen bee, and then if they don't, they immediately kill themselves and try to return to the hive. The female bees will push them out to die. So,
Wow.
if you're out there, don't talk to your kids about the birds and the bees.
Well, he's Trekkie Monster and you're Kate Monster.
This is. Let me see if I can pull this forward.
You should be much more careful when you're talking about the sensitive eyes. Look around and you will find no one's really colorblind. Maybe it's a fact we all should face. Everyone makes judgments based on race.
What the hell is that, Sam? Oh my goodness.
Is this the puppet show?
Yes, this was on Broadway. This is big stuff, guys. This is
Wow, I guess we're just out of the loop.
It's been around a long time, though, too.
Thank you for bringing culture to the show.
You're welcome. Pop culture.
Because we try really hard every week and are unsuccessful. Okay, 7. Yes. What's the look for? Bees, birds and the bees?
No, do you have any other lessons that we learned in kindergarten?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know the saying, blind as a bat?
Yes.
Well, bats actually have very, very great eyesight, but they are colorblind. And it takes years for gum to digest. You were probably warned at some point that if you swallow a piece of chewing gum, it'll take 7 years to digest. That is absolutely not true.
What? Magic School Bus lied to me.
That's right. Just like any other food, gum moves through your digestive tract just like any other food or drink, and it only takes 30 to 120 minutes to digest.
Awesome. I do that all the time. I accidentally swallow my gum.
Why did that one happen then? Like, why did that?
I don't know. It didn't say. I mean,
conspiracy.
it's one of those conspiracy theories. And lastly, the funny bone is not a bone at all. It is a nerve. So you shouldn't call it the funny bone because it's not a bone.
It's funny.
There you go. Have a talk with your kindergartners. Set them
Have a
straight.
talk with your kindergarten.
Kindergartners.
Yes. Talk to your kindergartners. Set them straight.
That's right.
And now you know.
Now you know.
Did you hear the story about the woman that was walked down the aisle by her father?
I did.
This is a beautiful story. Okay, so the father is terminally ill, has cancer, and the woman is 20 years old. She's not engaged. She's not getting married, but she wanted to have that opportunity to walk down the aisle with her father, have pictures taken. So they did the whole thing. He walked down the aisle dressed in a black suit, and she walked down the aisle carrying her bouquet of pink and white flowers. They did the whole ceremony. They did the father-daughter dance. They took pictures. So, her father probably isn't going to be around when the time comes that she gets married. So she will have those memories, and she'll have those pictures of her father walking her down the aisle and doing the father-daughter dance. I'm totally going to cry.
Christina's going to cry.
Here she goes.
And I thought it was kind of weird.
I'm going to play both sides here. I definitely see the lovely the side of loving father and all that. But at the same time, what happens if they make it? That's me being positive for the person who's ill. What if they made it through and then you're like, whoa?
Well, and it's not going to change the fact that the day she gets married, her father's not going to be there. If he does pass away, if we're not going to be positive like Sam is, and he does pass away, she's going to be in a different dress. She's going to look different. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I kind of think it's just a little weird at the same time.
A little much?
Something. I don't know.
He has stage 4 cancer. He is not going to be around when, sure, a miracle could happen. A miracle could happen, and we could finally have a cure for cancer, and he could be here. Having lost my father, I would have loved to have had the opportunity, even if it wasn't part of the actual ceremony. I would have loved to have had the opportunity to have that memory of my father walking me down the aisle. So I think it's a beautiful story.
So Michelle, if you didn't do that, what would you have done if you were in the same situation?
Well, I don't know. I just feel like it isn't.
It's a little. You feel like it's a little much.
No, it's not that it's a little much. I just think that so she does this, but the reality is when she really gets married, there's still that emptiness there.
Right.
That's not going to change.
Right.
And you're not going to be able to merge everything together. So it's not like in your wedding album you have pictures of your father walking you down the aisle. It's not the same aisle. It's not the same. So I don't know. Why
not?
There's a lot of factors.
Why
what if in 10 years she lives in Australia? Well, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying the reality is I don't know how old. It didn't say how old she was.
She's 20.
She's 20. Okay, so if she gets married, who knows when she's going to get married. So her appearance will be probably different, or where she lives, or the aisle. The dress probably will not be the same. I just feel like you're still going to miss him, and it's not going to replace the fact because he's not going to be there at your wedding. So doing that is not going to replace what's going to happen on your wedding day, which is your father's not going to be there, and he's not going to be there to walk you down the aisle to your husband who's standing there. So doing that, the little thing might be great, but it's not going to change the fact your father still did not walk you down the aisle.
It's not going to change the fact,
Yeah.
but maybe they incorporate it into the actual wedding. Maybe before she walks down the aisle, they have a video of her father walking down the aisle. I mean,
Our sci-fi girl holograms. No, you're right. I'm just saying it doesn't replace the fact that your father's not going to be there.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
so that's why I said I think it's just a little weird.
If she had
That's
a
me
boyfriend at
personally.
the time,
I think it's
that-
beautiful, but weird at the
Yeah.
same time. You know, just weird.
If she had a boyfriend at the time, though, that I would be really. If I was him, I would be really nervous. Like, whoa, what are we doing here? This is a little scary, right? You guys look
Yeah.
like I'm crazy.
Well, you are crazy.
You are
Yeah.
crazy.
All right, well, we need to go to break, so I'm
Yes,
going
we
to turn
do.
you guys.
All right.
Don't you turn that microphone off. All right, so when we come back, we are going to have Mrs. Arizona United States with us, and we're going to learn more about her journey to the crown and some of the things that she's passionate about. I'm Christina.
And I'm Michelle.
Would you like to share your military knowledge and experience with other service members and help them achieve their goals? Hey everybody, it's James from Vets On. You can do just that by becoming a military student enrollment advisor with the University of Phoenix at their Phoenix, Arizona campus. Military student enrollment advisors work with prospective students who've chosen to serve their country just like you. You'll be helping them enroll, choose a degree program, and guide them through their first class. To qualify for this great opportunity, you need a valid DD-214, military ID card from the National Guard or Reserves, a bachelor's degree, or 60 college credits. Military spouses are also eligible with current DoD ID card and a bachelor's degree. If you're looking for a great career while helping fellow military members, then we urge you to contact the University of Phoenix today. Apply now by going to jobs-apollo.com and enter the word military enrollment advisor in the search bar. And don't forget to tell them that Vets On sent you.
Breaker, 19. How about that bandit? You got them ears on, son?
Have you ever wanted to be a truck driver? If so, pay attention. If not, pay attention anyway. Southwest Truck Driver Training offers everything you need to get started. You can get hired before you begin training. They've got GI Bill approved training facilities, day, night, or weekend programs to fit your busy schedule. And if you have any questions, no sweat. They've got veteran supportive campuses with veterans on staff to serve you. And on top of that, they have lifetime job placement assistance. Put the pedal to the metal. Call Southwest Truck Driver Training today.
Everyone's going to need an attorney at some point in life. I'm no different. Hey everyone, it's James from Vets On. Whether it was my last will and testament before deployment or my ongoing custody battle for my children during my divorce, I needed help, so I lawyered up. If you need help, I urge you to contact Capstrom Law Firm. Capstrom Law Firm in Springfield, Missouri services clients throughout the state in criminal law, personal injury, and family law. With over 13 years practicing law, Tom Capstrom understands both law and court procedures and how stressful they can be. Let Tom Capstrom Law Firm and his dedicated staff take the stress and worry out of a difficult situation by calling him today. We feel so strongly about the work that Tom and his staff are doing that he'll be a monthly guest on the show. Tom is a veteran and a listener, for God's sake, so you know the guy is solid and will fight for you. Give Tom a call today by calling 417-864-0552 or email Tom at capstromlaw.com. And don't forget to tell him that Vets On sent you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
Hey everyone, it's Adam from Vets On. Are you or someone you know looking for employment? Then look no further than iVetX. iVetX is placing veterans with the right hiring companies. Join their mission in putting veterans in inspiring careers with ensured success. Access their national pipeline of military talent for companies. All veterans are pre-screened for 55 soft skill sets, 800 clarification types, education, experience, salary range, and so much more. iVetX can help you find the perfect job to veteran match. Your skills are based on what's needed for success in that job.
You're listening to the No Limits Radio Show on the Vets On Media Network.
All right, welcome back. We're here, and we have Mrs. Arizona United States, Kat Denslow.
Good morning. How is
Thank you for
everybody?
joining us.
Thank you.
Kat is a mother of three. She's Vice President of Human Resources of 3D Spinal Solutions and President of the nonprofit organization, the Arizona Baton Boosters. She has a degree in psychology. Uh-oh. We're screwed.
Oh, speak for yourself. I'm absolutely fine.
She has vast experience with children with special needs. Okay, we're safe. She was recently honored for the 2013-2014 National Association of Professional Women's VIP Human Resources Woman of the Year, awarded for her professional and philanthropic accomplishments with Jared Allen's Homes for Wounded Warriors. Thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me.
So, as Mrs. Arizona United States, what does that mean?
It means I'm awesome.
It means you're awesome. It means
Yeah,
I'm married, I'm a mom, and I'm awesome.
Yes. With the United States system, it's a little bit different than typical pageantry. It's not so much looking for the bikini model. It's not so much looking for someone who's, going to college and needing scholarship money like the America system. Ours is very much philanthropic based. We're highly encouraged to get a platform, devote ourselves to it, and plan on spending our year, if we win the crown, of supporting that charity.
So was this your first time getting involved in a pageant?
This was my second attempt at this pageant. I actually used to compete in pageants when I was younger. I was a baton twirler since the age of 5.
Okay.
And, most twirlers kind of tend to transfer over to the pageant world and use twirling as our talent. But,
Okay.
Getting married kind of young and having kids and going to school, it was just I got really busy, and then I started working with our company, and, I just wasn't taking much time for myself. So I really kind of wanted to pull back and give me a reason to get out of the house and do something that was personally for me and more along my identity. So that's why I decided to give it a go.
So was the first time that you competed, was that last year?
That was last year, yes.
Okay. Was there anything that you learned from the first time competing that you think helped you the second year around?
Being the first time I had ever competed in the United States system, I didn't really understand kind of what they were looking for. I definitely needed the experience of the first year to kind of see, what their expectations are of you. I didn't realize at first that it was so community-based. And it's just, I was blown away at how nice everybody was and how everybody is, actually honest, desired people who want to go out and help their community.
Right.
And so I was hooked once I started.
So was it the first time around, and I'm just curious about this, the first time around, were you already involved in the community, but you just didn't put the focus on that in your interview or share those experiences? Or was it that you got more involved in the community and philanthropic after that first year?
What I love about this system is they give you all these opportunities to get out and get in the community with your local title that you are given when you go to compete for the state.
Okay.
So that was a lot of fun. It, kind of gave me that exposure and let me feel around different avenues of kind of interest of where I really wanted to focus.
Okay.
So it was really good.
Okay. And your platform is the March of Dimes.
Yes, it is.
So tell everyone a little bit more about the March of Dimes and what they do and why you picked the March of Dimes.
Okay, I absolutely love the March of Dimes. I love babies. I have 3 of my own. I just, I don't know. Kids, little ones, I like them a lot. I've always worked with little ones. I actually spent the first 10 days of my life in the hospital in the NICU at John C. Lincoln and was basically pronounced stillborn at my birth. I had the umbilical cord around my neck, and the doctors said, her blood gases were so bad in her brain that she's just not going to make it.
Oh, wow.
And so I was in the NICU for the first 10 days, and it was just one nurse that I guess stayed by my side and worked through this with me, and, I'm alive, I'm walking, talking. I was told after the 10 days, my parents were told that, because there was so much brain damage, that I may never walk. I'd probably be bound to a wheelchair and probably need a lot of assistance.
Wow.
So I just didn't listen. And I prevailed. And then my firstborn son was 5 weeks early, and he was premature. And they were coming in and saying, statistically, white males who are born this early tend to have to spend a lot of time in the NICU. But, thanks to research and everything that the March of Dimes has done to promote, testing and developments to make our NICUs much stronger and well maintained to be able to care for these young infants, he's happy, healthy, and fine.
Now, when a family, when you were in the hospital and you were dealing with your son that was born, did you say 5 weeks early?
Yes.
Does the March of Dimes come in and offer you support, comfort, assistance in any way?
They do sometimes sponsor specific families, but what I didn't realize before getting more heavily involved in March of Dimes is everybody's affected by the work that the March of Dimes has done. They do a lot of private research. They just passed legislation in Arizona widening the testing for that doctors do in the hospitals with their newborns, because there are so many illnesses like PKU, for example, that if you don't know a child has it, it can kill them if you're feeding them the wrong things early in their life.
And what is
But
PKU?
I'm not going to say the scientific word, but
Okay.
it's like phenylethylamine, which is in like soda and certain foods. That is just something that their bodies cannot digest. So if the doctors can find that in the hospital, which that's like the heel poke that they do with the little blood that they
Right,
put the little
okay.
dots on the sheet,
Okay.
that's what they're testing for,
Okay.
is to see if they have the enzymes that can digest that chemical compound properly.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's just a simple diet change, but it's life-saving. So that's just one of the things that the March of Dimes has changed legislation so that all babies have to be tested for these certain things that are so easy to fix.
Wow.
You know, if we just know to test for them.
You know, I have a friend who, baby Olivia, and for all of you that are listening, I would if you are a person that prays, I would love for you to just say a little prayer for Olivia, because this little baby is in the NICU. She was born premature, and she is fighting for her life and has the most amazing mom and dad. And I'm just, I wonder if you have any words of comfort, anything that helped you, because I'm sure that you know, that time period when you were in the NICU, I'm sure, actually, having had a son that was born and was in the NICU, I know what a challenging time it can be. Now, my son wasn't a preemie. I'm wondering if you have any insight, you know, what got you through that time period? Was it the friends, family, support systems? Just what is it that helped get you through that period of time?
You know, I'm a very research-oriented person. I went to straight like books and research and articles to see kind of what the prognosis for these children later down the road could be, because mine was so negative when I was born, even though I wasn't premature, just from my birthing experience, that I really wanted to make sure that I was researching all the avenues and everything that's out there to help. And there are tons of therapy programs, you know, because even if a child comes prematurely, they might have developmental issues down the road. And right now I'm kind of going through that with my son a little bit. He's had OT, speech therapy since he was 3 years old. Now we just started PT as well.
Yeah.
So just knowing that there are all these programs out there, there are tons of families who have gone through this, and there's resources out there to help you. You just need to know to get on it as soon as possible so that, you know, you can bring them to their full spectrum later in life.
So this is your 7-year-old?
Yes.
You know, it's interesting that you mentioned that. When my son, who's now 15, when he was born, he was in the NICU, and the doctors told us that he's going to have learning disabilities, that he's going to have problems with his immune system, that, you know, he's probably going to be the smallest, you know, weakest kid in the class. This kid towers over all of us. I mean, he's 5'11". They also said that he wouldn't have coordination and balance. He's I mean, everything that they said he wouldn't, he definitely has overcome. So I think sometimes when doctors are telling you one thing, you have to take it with a grain of salt.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. And I wasn't given all those warnings when he was born. I was told by one nurse that he may, you know, just be sure to look up for these things. And it wasn't until he was 3 and started school. Being he was my first baby, I didn't really know what to expect.
Sure.
I thought he was developing perfectly fine.
Sure.
You know, and then the preschool teachers were like, well, you know, he's not doing this, he's not doing this. Let's get him tested.
Yeah.
So.
And get him an IEP so that he can get support from the school. Yep. Yep. Now, speaking of research.
Yes.
I know that autism is another topic that's close to your heart. Several years ago, Jenny McCarthy came out and said that, you know, vaccines are the cause of autism, and it seems like because she's got that celebrity status, everyone, a large portion of the population jumped on the bandwagon and, you know, took her words for gospel.
Oh yes. And
what
she
are
sold
your
a lot of
thoughts?
books.
She did.
She did.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think some of our viewers might know that Jenny McCarthy's son actually does not have autism.
Really?
He actually has a different brain disorder. I'm
Okay.
not sure exactly which one it was, but that did come out kind of, I don't know, maybe a year ago. However, you know, my kids were little when this was going on, you know, and my husband tackled with the debate of, are we going to vaccinate our children, are we not? So I totally dug into it. I got into ASU's library, started looking through their research articles, because they kind of got more things that I might get than, you know, looking through the general public. And there was actually a study in California, a very small population, where they took children who were getting vaccinated and children whose parents were voluntarily not getting them vaccinated. So there was no like ethical issues with the study. And they just watched them over like a 10-year period. And the autism rates were exactly the same versus the ones that were getting the vaccinations versus the ones that weren't. So based on that and the fact that, it's so hard to tell, okay, yes, this child has autism because he got vaccinated this day. It doesn't change like that.
Right.
It's a gradual process. And yeah, like with my son who's on the spectrum, we didn't see any of these signs, or I didn't know to recognize these signs until he was 3.5 years old.
Right.
And he had already gotten quite a few vaccines by then, but all my children have.
And your 3-year-old son does have autism?
No, my 7-year-old is on the spectrum.
He's on the spectrum.
Yes, we don't have a confirmed diagnosis because they're still kind of wanting to wait and see, but he definitely has kind of like
What do you mean he's on
Asperger's.
the spectrum?
We've had him tested by a developmental psychologist,
Okay.
and she gave us a statistic of like 99% chance that yes, he will be somewhere on the spectrum. But because he's still developing and still learning, still growing, they're kind of hoping that, things might start to progress at a different rate than what they have been.
Interesting.
Because I think with autism, it's not if you have autism, you're ABC. They're like what she's saying with the spectrum, that certain kids might have like an extreme case where they're very, very affected by it on a daily, regular basis, every minute, every second. And then you have kids where it's just certain things might kind of register that that's something that an autistic kid would have problems with. So my cousin has autism, and he has really, when he was younger, it was very hard to even kind of get close to him. He would not hug people. He would not talk to people. He just kind of stayed with his mom and dad and his grandma and grandpa. Because I have a big family. When we get together, I have 20 cousins. So, Christmas is like 70 people, around. So, but now he is, now Zach is, I think, 15. And as long as he knows the plan for the day and that the plan is what will happen, he is okay. So, and he will give hugs and he will do. So he has grown quite a bit from where he was when he was younger.
And if the plan deviates,
he will usually have a breakdown.
And what does a breakdown look like?
For him, it's a screaming. It's kind of like a fit, you would see like a 3-year-old.
Wow.
So, yeah. So as long as he sticks to a plan of the day, he's okay.
It's all about the routine.
Yeah.
Yes. And autism is such like a blanketing diagnosis. It's so hard. It's not a blood test. You can't, test somebody's genes and say, oh, here it is,
Right.
this gene right here. They have autism. It has so many different flavors of ADHD and different learning disabilities, reading disabilities. It's so many different aspects. And like the spectrum, it's huge. There's children that probably could be diagnosed by the certain perception of a physician who, tends to function fine in daily life, but others at the other end where it's very clear that there is something there that's, causing them to perceive their world differently than those around us.
Sure. Well, it was interesting when you said that, this was a topic that was near and dear to your heart.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know which side of because you didn't you didn't let me know if you kind of were leaning towards Jenny McCarthy's, don't vaccine, or so I didn't know what side of that spectrum you were, what camp you were in. And it was interesting to see that on the CDC, not that the CDC is the gospel, because obviously it is a government sect, but it was interesting to see that they had come out and said, that there is no support of this. And so I'll share that article for everyone if you want to dig in a little deeper to what the CDC has to say about that. I know that there's another topic that it's a topic that I find interesting. It's a topic that we've talked about quite a lot on this show, the border crisis. Are they refugees? Are they seeking asylum? What is it, and what should our government be doing? What do we do? We've got 57,000 children that have come across the border. One camp says that it's because they heard a rumor that they could stay. Others say that it's because of this gang that's in Central America. As a mom, and I know you're a mom also, as a mom, my heart breaks for these children. It's a big topic. It's one that we all, I think, need to be looking at and talking about, and I wanted to hear what your thoughts were on that.
Well, my biggest issue is, where are these parents? I'm sorry, I would never send my child alone to say, you go get help here. I would never leave my child like that, so I can't really relate to exactly what's going on.
Right.
I've seen press releases where they don't want to send the children back, but it's like we fly minors, through our country to, like, say, parents that are separated and live in different states. We fly minors with a flight attendant. we can get them there safely. But I
Right.
would be more worried about reuniting them with their parents, not saying, oh, here, good luck, you're 5.
Well, I think that's part of the problem. A lot of these kids either don't, I mean, a lot of these kids are young kids. We're talking about kids who, definitely might not know their street address or
Right.
the last names of their parents. I mean, these are young kids. So a lot of them can't even really say who their kids are or where they're from. You know what I mean? So you can't really just send them back and to where, like where do you even, I mean, I'm not saying, that there's too many here. What are we going to do with them? I mean, we have enough problems. We don't need this.
Right.
But as a mom, I also can't say, okay, just send them all back and
Right.
let's let them figure it out. But I think that's part of the problem is they don't know who these kids belong to.
But part of asylum is offering protection to those that feel that they're being persecuted. And, is persecution by a government entity, or is that by any group that is doing that? And this gang MS-13, which, Kat, you mentioned that you can't kind of get in the mindset of sending your child off. I also think we can't get in the mindset of what these gangs are like, because our worldview is the gangs here in the United States.
Yes, and our experience with them.
Right, right. And I think that the gangs here in the United States compared to the gangs in Central America, I think the gangs here probably are more like the Boy Scouts compared to what's going on there.
Well, I don't know about that. That might be a little extreme. They're Boy Scouts?
All right.
Okay,
Yes,
I was going to say,
maybe
because I could probably pull up a lot of articles where the gangs here in America are not really
Sure. Maybe
collecting cookies.
All right.
Selling cookies.
All right. Thank you for calling me on my bullshit.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. You're right.
I'm saying it is definitely a whole different world down there that we cannot relate to.
Right.
I would absolutely agree with that.
So I think the gangs that are in Central America were in the United States. They went to Central America where yes, I see you shaking your head in the background, Rob. I hear you, okay? It's great having a live studio audience. Anyway.
But see, one of the leaders of this gang was actually arrested in Texas not too long ago, who was supposedly the mastermind in planning this random bus attack. So it's obviously still here and still a problem here, but I don't think we need to be focusing our money and our resources on gangs in Central America.
But what do we do about these kids that are here now, that are saying, I'm seeking asylum? And I understand that some of these are kids that, because of poverty, they want to come here for a better opportunity. And in some cases, those parents have sent them here. But what do we do about the ones that are saying, the parents that are sending them here saying, I'm afraid for my child's life because of this gang. The gangs are going into the schools and they're recruiting. And if the kids don't join the gangs, then, they're killing them, they're raping them, they're, all of these horrible things that here in Scottsdale, Arizona, it's hard for us to wrap our brains around. What do we do?
We need to keep better track of them. We need to, if they're coming here and they're seeking asylum, which I did look into this law a little bit, that if there is a threat of persecution, they have to have one of 5 grounds, which is race, religion, nationality, membership in a social group, or political opinion that is, going to cause them persecution, typically by their government. But in this case, we're talking about, like a social gang, which makes it a little hard to say, oh, okay, because there's a gang here, which, as you said, we can't relate to exactly what they're going on and the fears and threats and everything that they're going through on a daily life. But, this makes it really kind of uneasy ground on, are we just going to say, okay, anybody that wants to come. I have no problems with immigration. Our country was obviously founded on immigration. Everybody is entitled to come and, better themselves and better our country and our cultural surroundings. But we have to keep track of who's here, where they're going, what they're doing, and, the only way we will best provide for them and help them is if we know where they are and how to help them.
Absolutely. And I think, go ahead, Michelle.
Well, I was going to say, if you're going to open this up about gangs versus the government, and seeking asylum because of, a government agency versus gangs, then what country isn't going to be able to come over here? I mean, how many countries have gangs and terrorist groups that are doing the same thing that's going on in Central America? So that really opens it up to, hey, well, so everyone can come?
I don't know. I mean, like I said, it's a big topic, and it's hard to. One woman on the Facebook post had said, we need to take the the heart out of it. And I just thought, doesn't that remove our humanity? I mean, isn't
and kind of what our country was founded on to begin with. Yes,
right.
It does a little bit.
It's hard to remove the heart tug, and I mean, my heart breaks for the children. My heart breaks also for the families that said, okay, I'm gonna give this coyote $5,000 to take my child across the border with no guarantee of safety and security. I mean, my heart just breaks. I don't know what the answer is. It's a big topic.
But I think the reason that she's saying you have to take the heart out of it is the reality is we as a country can only do so much. And we have our own issues here with our own citizens. And your heart needs to break, I guess, for them first. And that might sound cold, but the reality is that if we were going to say, oh, well, we need to save them, we need to help them, we need to save ourselves first, because as a country, we're really not that strong. Everyone looks at us like we're this huge power. We're really not.
I agree. And
so
I completely agree with you. We do need to focus on our country. I've said this before. I'm going to clean up my backyard before I'm going to go over to my neighbor and say, hey, what can I do over there to help you? But we do it. I mean, we do it time and time again. We're overseas.
That doesn't mean it's right, though.
Correct.
So
we need to.
I mean, I right now I think I'm going to move to Texas because we only have a couple minutes. But did you guys hear about the Texas-based nonprofit charity, the Catholic charity, who is giving foster families $40 per day to care for each immigrant? You are allowed to have 6 immigrants at any given time. Therefore, if you do the math, you can make up to $7,400 per month. I'm going to go live for a year, make some good money. And tax-free. I think it's tax-free, too.
But the taxpayers are paying for that.
Exactly.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. Of course they are. But we won't go into charities because, that's a whole other.
Is this a Texas program? Or is it a federally funded program?
The federal government is in dire need of U.S. citizens willing to house the thousands of illegal immigrants who enter the country each week, and they're willing to pay them to do so. So it is it's somehow funded with the federal government.
What are they thinking in Washington? Please, somebody.
They're not.
Somebody.
So, I'm going to build on a little spare room, get a couple sets of bunk beds, make some good money, and my house will be clean. No, I had to get that in for Sam. I had to get that into Sam. I had to do one racist thing. Girlfriend, Cindy, even if you're listening, I love you. So anyway.
Everybody's a bit racist.
I'm just saying. Listen.
See, Michelle, now you understand why when I said what I did.
When you say it in a joke, it's all okay. No, I told my girlfriend, Cindy, who is Hispanic at work, we were talking about this, and I actually said to her, I said, damn, my yard and my house. And she goes, and I go, and I could eat Mexican food. And she goes, yes, you could, Michelle. So see, it's all good. I'm not racist at heart. But just saying, $7,400, that's a lot of money. And on that note, no.
Yeah, right.
I love saying something that Christina's like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. I'm just saying.
I was going to talk about
how nice I am.
Not anymore.
I was gonna talk about how we really do need to secure the border because we don't know who's coming across. We don't know who's coming through the border. I'm sorry, that's what I was going to talk about, but right now my brain is just going.
But you know what? Why don't
you just say?
Why don't we go to a break?
Well,
we do need to go.
We're going to go to a break, and when we get, Kat, thank you so much for joining
absolutely.
us. It's
Thank
been wonderful to hear more about your thoughts on some of these big topics. This has been No Limits. We've had Mrs. Arizona United States with us. When we come back from the break, we're going to have Vernon Parker, and maybe we can get into a little bit more of the political side of things because that's his world. So stay tuned. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. I'm Christina.
And I'm Michelle.
Would you like to share your military knowledge and experience with other service members and help them achieve their goals? Hey everybody, it's James from Vets On. You can do just that by becoming a military student enrollment advisor with the University of Phoenix at their Phoenix, Arizona campus. Military student enrollment advisors work with prospective students who've chosen to serve their country just like you. You'll be helping them enroll, choose a degree program, and guide them through their first class. To qualify for this great opportunity, you need a valid DD-214, military ID card from the National Guard or Reserves, a bachelor's degree, or 60 college credits. Military spouses are also eligible with current DoD ID card and a bachelor's degree. If If you're looking for a great career while helping fellow military members, then we urge you to contact the University of Phoenix today. Apply now by going to jobs-apollo.com and enter the word Military Enrollment Advisor in the search bar. And don't forget to tell them that Vets On sent you. Everyone's going to need an attorney at some point in their life. I'm no different. Hey everyone, it's James from Vets On. Whether it was my last will and testament before deployment or my ongoing custody battle for my children during my divorce, I needed help, so I lawyered up. If you need help, I urge you to contact Capstrom Law Firm. Capstrom Law Firm in Springfield, Missouri services clients throughout the state in criminal law, personal injury, and family law. With over 13 years practicing law, Tom Capstrom understands both law and court procedures and how stressful they can be. Let Tom Capstrom Law Firm and his dedicated staff take the stress and worry out of a difficult situation by calling him today. We feel so strong about the work that Tom and his staff are doing that he'll be a monthly guest on the show. Tom is a veteran and a listener, for God's sake, so you know the guy is solid and will fight for you. Give Tom a call today by calling 417-864-0552 or email Tom at capstromlaw.com. And don't forget to tell him that Vets On sent you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
Breaker, 1-9. How about that bandit? You got them ears on, son?
Have you ever wanted to be a truck driver? If so, pay attention. If not, pay attention anyway. Southwest Truck Driver Training offers everything you need to get started. You can get hired before you begin training. They've got GI Bill approved training facilities, day, night, or weekend programs to fit your busy schedule. If you have any questions, no sweat. They've got veteran supportive campuses with veterans on staff to serve you. And on top of that, they have lifetime job placement assistance. Put the pedal to the metal. Call Southwest Truck Driver Training today.
Do you need an extra push to start your day? Well, then tune in to Addie's Radio. Addie's Radio is a show that explores tough questions in an open and fun forum. The program also engages hard-hitting issues concerning veterans' physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. The show airs every Tuesday from 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Vets On Media Network. Addie's Radio is hosted by Jesse James, a combat veteran of Afghanistan, so he knows the problems that veterans face every day. Jesse provides you guidance each and every week to be a better you. So tune into yourself each week by tuning into Addie's Radio. Go to vetsonmedia.com for show details. You're listening to No Limits Radio Show on the Vets On Media Network.
Welcome back. We are live in studio.
We're back.
We're back.
On
We're back.
Saturday.
On a Saturday. All right. So, moving right along. I'm not even going to touch the topic that we just. It was a joke, people.
See, Michelle.
Right.
See.
But to every
Jokes.
joke, there's an element of truth.
Well,
I'm going to remember that next time you tell a joke.
To every joke, there's some element of truth. That's what makes it funny. All right. Well, nothing funny about the article that I read about my friend Vernon Parker. Vernon, thank you for joining us in studio.
Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
The Republic wrote a paper. It's on AZ Central. Anybody can find it. Just I'll share it on the. Actually, it's on the event page. But they wrote a story that had to do with your campaign finances, and I really felt like it was written with a bit of bias, and I wanted to give you an opportunity to come in and share with us a little bit more, because I didn't feel that you were involved in the article.
No, and when you look at the article, the placement was on page A1 above the fold, and I guess, more important than Hamas, more important than the Israeli crisis. It was just a ridiculous thing. But really what the article was about me running for Congress. And what I had done was that I had told my team that if we could raise $2 million that I would do it. And we started fundraising, because when you are going up against an incumbent, it's almost impossible because Kirsten Sinema is going to start off with at least $2 million. So I told my team that if we could raise enough money, that I would, be in the race, and we set a specific deadline. And that deadline, we were nowhere close to it. So I told them to shut down the operation right then. They sent out additional mail without telling me. And when the mail came back, there were a lot of invoices. So we had to pay the bills and shut the operation down. And I told them that I was not going to run for Congress unless I had the backing of the Republican Party. That was not there either. And so to me, running up against an incumbent with $2 million in the bank and a lot of money from Pelosi was a no-go. No money went into my pockets whatsoever. If I didn't pay the bills, the article would have said, Vernon Parker does not pay his bills. And so, it's just one of those things that they didn't talk to a single fundraiser, because a fundraiser will tell you that the way you fundraise is that the more donors you get, the more money you can get when you do fundraising. So all the money that we raised went into trying to get new donors. And we ultimately tried to expand that donor base across the country. And so it was an article that should not have been written whatsoever.
Well, it was interesting because in the article they said that, the entire river of cash flowed to a network of political consultants who ran a direct mail fundraising program. When I read that, my first thought was, well, when you're campaigning and when you're raising funds, you're asking for money to help with your campaign. So having political consultants, having a direct mail campaign, all of the things that you do to market.
That's called a campaign. Yeah, that's called a campaign.
The way they wrote it, it kind of sounded like you were doing something wrong.
A Ponzi scheme or something. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And if people know me, they know that, some of the things in the article that it's just unfathomable to think that they would even write an article such as this. And what they didn't do was very interesting. They didn't talk to a political fundraiser, because a political fundraiser will tell you that direct mail is very expensive, and if you even break even on direct mail, you are doing great. And that was not highlighted in the article whatsoever, and it just looked like we were just raking in all the money. And
right.
So I'm really encouraged that that's behind me. so there's always something.
Of course, especially when you're running, when you're campaigning, there's always going to be something. But when you decided that you were not going to run for the House of Representatives, had you used all of those monies? Because in the article they also said, he hasn't returned any of the money. Was there any money to return, or did all that money go to pay for the campaign?
All the money went to pay for the campaign. There was probably about $7,000 or $8,000 left, and that will go to charity. That has been designated to charity. Okay. So so that's what I do with all my campaign surpluses. And any campaign that I've ever had, I've always donated it to charity.
So I got to ask this, because I'm looking at this article, and you might not know much about me, but I absolutely despise politics, and I think most people that run for them are nothing but a bunch of crap. But anyway, because you just can't believe what people say. However, I got to ask, the article, when she approached you to do an article, what did she say the article was going to be about? Because I'm thinking, as a non-political person, if someone says to me, Michelle, we want to talk to you about that statement you made on the No Limit show, I'd be like, yeah, no, that's all right. I think I'll just pass. So I'm wondering, what did she say she wanted to talk to you about?
That's a very, very good question. I mean, that is, because
here's
what happened. In the Corporation Commission race that I am currently in, these dark money groups have sent out flyers, and one of the flyers said Vernon Parker raises all of this cash. And so the next day, after the flyer goes out, she calls me, and I said to her, so now you are doing the bidding for APS. You believe these things. And so she goes, well, I'm going to have to write about it. And I said, are you kidding? So what happened was that the dark money that was used to attack me, when someone called her and said that you have to do a story. And the bizarre thing is that the story was on page A1. And I talked to one of the editors, which I can't name the person. I just ran into him. One of the editors on the Republic, and he said to me, Vernon, I don't even know what that article was about. I don't even know why they placed it. I don't even know why they even let her do the article. But the incredible thing is that the backlash from the article, from my friends, they're like, are you kidding? So, but all of this really stems from the Corporation Commission race that I'm currently in right now, because APS does not want to see me win this race. And so they have funneled over $1 million in what they call dark money, because you don't have to disclose who gave you the money. So they have these two puppet organizations that they funneled the cash into for dark money. Now, if anyone should get dark money, I should be getting it, don't you think? But I don't want.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't want their dark money. But
okay, well, let's get into the dark money in just a few minutes, though. So for those that are saying that you're using the money that you raised for that campaign for this campaign,
it's against the law. One, because you cannot
and
take
it's simply not true.
It's not true, one, but you cannot take federal funds and use them in a state election. Okay. And I did not hire any consultant in my current campaign with any money that was raised in the federal race.
Okay. Now, Corporation Commission. It's a sexy office, apparently. I mean, it's getting a lot. It's getting. I mean, I can't remember another election where we were talking so much, and that I saw, the Corporation Commission at the headlines. But you've got APS, you've got the dark money. So there's a lot of components in here. But before we get to the dark money, what is it that the Corporation Commission does? And why do you want to be involved?
Well, the Corporation Commission, they set the rates for public utilities, which are monopolies. So they also are involved in water, they're involved in electricity, they're involved in all utilities, but they are under Article 15, Section 3 of the Constitution. They are the de facto fourth branch of government. And the decisions that they make are powerful. And they affect every ratepayer out there. They affect your bill because, like, for example, in 2015, APS is going to come before the Corporation Commission and ask for a 9% rate increase. So APS only wants to put people on the Corporation Commission that's going to go along with that 9% increase. And that means billions of dollars for them. So for them to use millions of dollars to attack me, because one thing that I will do and I will stay committed to is protecting the ratepayer, protecting the citizens of our state, and making sure that if they do come in for a 9% increase in your utility bill, that is warranted. And so that's why all the money has come against me, because I've already taken several stands against them, and so they don't want to be held accountable.
But is it legal for APS to be doing that?
It's legal. Yes, it is. They have a constitutional right to do it, but what I think it's unethical in a lot of ways, because they are using, for example, I am an APS subscriber, and so they are using my money that I pay to APS to give to dark money groups to run negative ads. Now they've just spent over well into the six figures on TV commercials against me. Now, why would a public utility want one person off of the commission?
Now,
it's like a John Grisham book. It truly is.
Right. But if it's dark money, I thought the component of dark money is that you don't know where that money came from.
Yeah, but
so how do we know that it came from APS?
That's a very good question. Because one, I asked APS when I got into the race. They told me, they said, we will not be involved in this race. And then when I stood up against a tax on rooftop solar, because rooftop solar was being taxed, but the tax did not go through the legislature. It was not signed by the governor. It was tacked on by a bureaucrat in the Department of Revenue, and that was wrong, because seniors, churches, schools, nonprofits will be harmed because they lease rooftop solar. They didn't have a tax when they got the lease, and it would negate all profits that they would get. So I stood up, and then once I did that, then APS, I started hearing that they're going to give money to various groups to stop me. So when I asked APS, I sent them 3 letters, and I said, are you involved in this race? They would not answer the letter. They would not say yes. They would not say no. Lori Roberts, she has asked them multiple times, are you involved in this race? They will not say yes. They will not say no. Bram Resnick, same thing. And so just recently, Friday, KFYI ran a story, and it's online, that said that APS said that they could get involved in these races if they wanted to. And so To me, if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. But it's a very simple question. Answer it. Are you involved, yes or no? And who else would have the interest of keeping someone off of the Corporation Commission to the tune of $1 million?
Well, it would seem to me that the legislatures need to get involved, and there should be a law that would prohibit APS from even being able to be involved in the race. You know, am I crazy? I mean, well, yes, I am crazy.
I was going to say, you probably should ask a different
No, you're right,
question.
though. No, but you know what? That has been suggested. And I guess what really gets me is you know, the media, Lori Roberts in particular, she's done a great job because they're involved in two races, Secretary of State's race and this race. But just think of the ramifications. If the largest corporation in the state of Arizona, worth billions of dollars, if they can control and determine and select candidates in this race, it will change the political landscape in the state.
Right.
Because every other candidate will have to go to APS and say, listen, are you supporting me? Are you supporting someone else? Let the people decide
Absolutely.
who they want to have in office. And the negativity and the lies and the attacks, it's just gross. I mean, I've never seen it. This is worse than when I ran for Congress.
And you were robbed.
DCCC.
You were robbed.
I know, and I definitely. But the DCCC, they weren't this bad. I mean,
Right.
I was like, are you kidding me? This is crazy.
So in this campaign, you know, I would love to see, maybe after this is over, maybe the legislatures will realize that there needs to be a law to prevent utility companies for campaigning.
Well, they're a regulated monopoly. They
Right.
are a monopoly.
Right.
So they don't have to compete. And what people have to understand is that the Corporation Commission sets the ceiling as to how much money they can make. And so, of course, they're going to want to put the persons on that commission who will go along with what they want.
Right.
And you can't tell me that if someone spends over $1 million to put you in office that you're not going to be beholden to them.
Absolutely.
And speak up. And, you know, I have said that I want no special interest involved in this race to either help me or to hurt me. Lucy Mason has said the same thing. But the two that APS that they're supporting, they won't come out with a statement. Tom Farese and Doug Little will not come out with a statement, you know, saying that this is wrong.
When you say that they're supporting, as in APS is supporting?
Those are, yes. They have sent positive things out about them using dark money again. And so those are their two select candidates. And I encourage you, Lori Roberts, I posted it on my Facebook page, but she wrote an article last night about this very issue.
Now, what about the clean election? I know that you're using clean election funds to
Right.
campaign for the Corporation Commission. Educate our listeners. How does the clean election campaign work?
Yeah, clean election campaign, you can only receive donations from citizens who are registered voters in the state of Arizona. And I chose that route because I didn't want to take any special interest money whatsoever, because I didn't want people to say when I do win that, you know, this utility gave me X amount of money, and watch the decisions that he's going to participate in. So I chose to run under clean elections. And so how it works is that if I get close to 2,000 people to give me $5, then I will get money to run my campaign, which would be a drop in the bucket compared to what's being used against me. And so currently I need about another 200. And so if the listeners out there would like to help, just go to VernonBParker.com, and that's Vernon B, as in brilliant or benevolent.
Bombastic.
Bombastic. VernonBParker.com, and hit the button to donate $5, please. That's my radio voice. You like that?
That was a great
And hit
radio
the button.
voice. And if you're
We'll
watching,
be back in 5 minutes.
No, we're not going anywhere.
Now he's
just
taking
joking.
over. Now he's taking over, right? I just think it's interesting that that's even an option. Like, doesn't it seem that politics would be much more of an even playing field if that's just how it was? It's not, I decided to go with the clean campaign.
Right.
Why is that an option? Shouldn't you all have to do that? You know, I mean, that just makes sense to me.
Well, and
Well, it's called the Second Amendment. That's the
Well,
only,
whatever.
Yeah,
I don't-
I know. That's just a minor issue.
Are we talking about the amendment
I mean,
right
not
now?
the Second
that's
Amendment. Well, not the Second Amendment. That's the right to bear arms. I guess.
well,
it
that one's
wouldn't.
important too.
oh, Michelle supports that, right?
Yes, I do.
No, you said that. So with the clean election, you
First Amendment. I'm sorry.
with the clean election, you get those $5 donations, and then you get money.
Right.
Where does they get money? Where does that money
Well,
come
the money comes from fines and assessments that people have on parking tickets and things like that.
Okay.
And so that's I see a frown.
No, I'm just thinking now I know I shouldn't pay that parking ticket because it's just it's going to go to some race. No, I'm kidding.
No, but then you're supporting
No, when
clean
you say
election.
race, what are you talking about?
Please, well,
Because you made that joke earlier.
I know.
Okay, some race.
Oh, you can come back more often.
Not that race.
Somebody that's calling Michelle on
The
her
human
stuff.
race. I'm sorry, Michelle. My sense of humor sometimes gets outside of me.
Don't apologize because I never will.
I'm a non-apologetic comedian over here.
It's okay.
So I think that's a great point, though. I think that more elections should be done in a clean election.
Yeah, I mean, if you have to this is my problem about it. You have to title something clean election. I mean, that's a little bit funny, isn't it? Like, shouldn't it be a clean election? Like, why are you titling it clean election? That implies that there is different policies that it's not a clean election.
Well, there's a group that's called the Free Enterprise that's going against me, but they're supporting a regulated monopoly. Now, does that make sense? Free enterprise, regulated monopoly. So there are a lot of things out there I think that are that just don't make sense.
Yeah, I would agree.
There are. Anything else you want our listeners to know?
Yes.
Go to my website.
Go to my website. VernonBParker.com.
I want you
And it says $5. See, if I said that, then it'd be in the next commercial if I did that. See?
What? If you said that?
Yeah.
I said that.
I know. I just want
I
people
said
to
that. He
realize
didn't say that. I said.
That wasn't Ebonics. That was not. Okay, I did not.
Oh boy, we'd get along really well. So I think you should go donate the $5 just because we've had fun today. So if you support our show, you know what? It's $5. Skip Starbucks today and make sure this guy runs on a clean election. So.
And I would say that I'd buy someone Starbucks, but I'd be breaking the law, and that would be page A1 again.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I liked about the article, and I know we have to go, but what I liked about the article is there were absolutely she didn't have any factual information. Like, show me some bank statement. Show me something. Show me something that isn't just you talking. Because I would love to just write what I think. You know what I mean?
Most of the media outlets do that.
No, but what I'm saying is
they write what
somewhere.
they think.
No, but what I'm saying is if
No
you're going
factual.
to- if you're going to
Now,
go out.
would they let you write what you think? Or
No. Bleep. No. It would have little asterisks and stars.
That's what I was getting at.
No. I'm just saying there was nothing factual in there. So whatever, Christina.
This was fun.
I've had enough.
This was fun. So I had my non-campaign mode on today, so this was fun.
Thank you. I appreciate you taking time out of your Saturday to join us. And I encourage you all to go to VernonBParker.com. If you're watching on the Google Hangout, the link is in the lower thirds. Just go there. And
Ricky Bobby, what do I do with these hands?
We'll be back next week. Next week, we're going to have JD from JD's Rockin' Sports on because football is right around the corner.
We're starting sports, so stay tuned if you want to listen to JD's Rockin' Sports. Thanks for joining us.
And wait, if you want more of Michelle and I, tomorrow we got Chicks Making Bacon.
Chicks Making Bacon.
Yes, we come together once a week and we make a different bacon recipe. And for the girl that burns water, this is a whole lot of fun. This is Christina.
And I'm Michelle.
We'll see you next week.
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed, and the twilight